Hi, I'm Curious Vedanth, and welcome to my podcast. Wow, it's our 24th episode already. Time flies so fast. It is the end of season 1 of my podcast. I have interviewed people from diverse backgrounds: engineers, artists and designers, a doctor, a pilot, and people who are changing our food systems. I have had a lot of fun, and I have learned so many new things. I hope you did too. Next week, I will start season 2 with a series where I interview kids on what they are doing beyond school. Today is special, season finale episode. Elissa Lane, my guest from episode 5, is with me, and she is going to interview me about my experiences during this season, among other things. Hi, Lissy.
Hi, Vedanth. Welcome to your show.
I'm excited for you interviewing me.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really excited, and I know all of your listeners are really excited to learn about you today.
I know.
As you mentioned, the past season we've learned so much about other people with diverse backgrounds and jobs. So today we're focusing on you. So we're going to learn all about you, all about who is Curious Vedanth. Are you ready? I have some questions for you.
I'm all ready.
All right, let's go. So my first question, Curious Vedanth,
Yes.
is tell us the story of why you started this podcast.
So, I started this podcast for COVID in April. It was to keep me busy during the time because of lockdown, and I didn't have friends to play with, and it all went online. So I started this podcast because of that, and people loved it so much that I decided to make it full time. So we do one every Saturday. I'll tell you how I got the idea. One day, when my father was making me sleep, he told me, "Do you want to start a podcast?" I said yes. My first guest was my mother. That turned out really well. And now it's episode 24, the end of season 1.
I remember that first podcast with your mom, and I can't believe it's already been 24 episodes.
Time flies so
about
fast.
6 months.
Yes.
Well, that's a great way to spend lockdown. It must be hard though now with school to balance homework and school and a full-time podcast.
Well,
now that lockdown is over.
Homework, we get maths only on Friday, but till now we haven't got any other subject homework.
Okay, so then what is the hardest part of the podcast?
Editing.
Yeah.
So it's hard because you need to decide which part do you need to cut out, which part needs more voice modulation, and we record it and paste it on. So that's the hardest part. So do you want me to tell you the easiest part?
Yes, please.
Recording it.
It's the easiest part?
Kind of easy because the not too easy part is the voice part where you're getting your voice right and not making any what do you call it, words that are wrong or saying it correctly. And the easy part is having fun.
The easy part is having fun. So then, is the funnest part for you? That was going to be my next question, what you like most and what's the funnest part. So the funnest part is that it's fun?
Yes, it's very, very fun.
And you
learn new things. It's answered all my questions.
Do you get nervous at all?
Not a lot.
That's amazing. I know lots of people get nervous speaking, recording themselves and speaking in public, but you always seem so confident.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so my next question for you is about Singapore. I know you moved to Singapore about 6 or 7 months ago.
Yes.
From India.
Mm-hmm.
What is school like here? And I'm wondering if it's really different from school in India.
Okay, it's It's very different, as you said, as you asked, because in India, we didn't have many teachers. We didn't have different teachers. Like for maths and English and all those type of subjects, we had one teacher, and for other subjects like computer and all of those, we had different teachers. So from India, we went to the Cambridge in the US. Their school was a bit different. Like it was a whole new experience for me, the school. So we stayed there for 6 months. They had whiteboards and everything. But when I came back to India, I went to school there for some time. Then we moved here to Singapore, and school was a whole new thing. I went to going to the school called the Perth School Singapore, a British school, and I'm really enjoying it there.
So the main differences are that here there's, you said, like a 1 or 2 teachers for all the subjects?
No. The difference, so over here, there's one teacher for different subjects. Like maybe sometimes the same teacher, like example, my math teacher teaches us music.
Okay.
And our PE teacher teaches us well-being.
Well-being. Okay. And so what do you like most then about school in Singapore?
The thing I like most about school in Singapore is is the friends and the teachers, and they're so kind and everything.
That's fun. Good. And you mentioned that you have a new activity coming up next week after school.
Yes, ECA.
And you'll learn about...
And on Monday we have coding and robotics with
Legos.
And Wednesday I have signed up for science.
Fun.
Friday, nothing.
Well, that sounds fun. You'll have to tell us about how those go on a future podcast.
Sure.
Okay. Next question for you. You have a lot of cool hobbies. We just mentioned Legos, and you've spoken before about Legos and reading.
Yes.
What are some of your favorite things you've made with Legos? And do you have any favorite books?
So recently I made this Nexonites thing. It's a fighting mobile where like 2 sidecars come out, and there's a plane that can attach to it and drive and come up and fly. That's number 1. Number 2 is a Lego Mini Cooper I have made. It's not life size, but it can move on wheels. It has like an opening bonnet, opening doors. It has an open roof.
So cool.
And then I have this constructing thing which has a trailer, which has a portaloo, if you've heard of one. Like those portable toilets.
Oh, okay.
And I've arranged it like there's this person sitting inside it who has left the door open and he's trying to close it while sitting on the seat.
That's funny.
Those are my top 3.
Top 3. Yeah, I've seen your Lego collection at your house, and they are very, very complicated things there. I can't even believe you put all of them together. They look like it was like a professional team that put all these Legos together. Maybe you can share pictures one day on your podcast somehow with some of your followers on your website or Facebook of all the ones you've made.
Yeah, I will. And also, it takes me like from 5 minutes to 1 hour. 5 minutes on easy sets, 1 hour on maybe quite difficult, a little bit difficult sets. 2 or 3 or 4 days for very hard sets. And that's how far I've gone so far. 5 minutes are for the basic sets.
Wow, that's quick.
I know.
All right, so what about your favorite books?
Favorite books? I don't have favorite books as such. I have favorite authors.
Who?
I have this person called David Walliams. I have Roald Dahl. I have Enid Blyton. I have Wimpy Kid. And many more.
And are you reading any book in particular right now for fun?
I'm reading this book by David Williams called Billionaire Boy.
Billionaire Boy. Okay. What's it about?
It's about this boy whose father is very rich, and he just invented this new roll which has one side damp and one side dry. So it's comforting for your butt. So he's on thousands of pounds worth of money.
Oh, okay.
And he buys his son whatever he wants. Like, he has one Formula race car, Formula One race car. And now he has moved to a normal school because he didn't like his old fancy school.
And he likes his new school better?
It's still his first day.
It's his first day. Okay. It sounds like an interesting book. I've never heard of it before.
Yep.
Okay. And what about other hobbies?
Other hobbies: drumming, listening to music, and other than that, the ones are Lego, and yeah, that's it.
Those are really good hobbies. And what do you like most about being here in Singapore, about living in this country?
But living in this country, I like it that there are so many kind people, and everything around here, depending on the traffic, is 5-10 minutes walk, or 1 hour drive, which is super quick.
It was further in India? It was harder to get around?
In major cities, it would take a long time to get from one place to another. Like in India, to get from my house to a restaurant in one of the more developed areas, it would take about 1 hour.
1 hour. Yeah, that's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard that, speaking of transport, that you're an expert on the Singapore MRT, or metro system.
Yes. Yeah.
And so how did you become an expert on that?
I don't know how I got an expert, just I had been on the MRT a lot. So I was just looking at the map. My parents got me an MRT map, a free one from the station. And for time past, I used to look at it, and that's how I got an expert.
And so, do you think I can give you any locations and you can tell me how to get there?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to test you one day.
Yeah.
But
You can test me now.
Yeah, you've already. Okay, so how do I get from Orchard Station to your MRT?
Hillview? Orchard to Hillview. From Orchard, go to Newton.
Okay.
From Newton, tap out and tap in back, and go take the blue line and go to Hillview.
Oh my goodness, you are an expert. Wow, that's impressive, Vedanth. It's a complicated system. For those of you who don't know Singapore, there are many different lines, and some are circular, some are straight, so it's really hard to know and memorize all the different stations here.
And in 2021 and 2022, a new line is coming.
Which line?
The brown line.
Brown line, okay. All right, well, you'll have to start memorizing all those stations next.
Yes.
Okay, now, what are you most excited to see and do here in Singapore in the next few months?
Okay. Universal Studios, that's definitely one thing. Outside Singapore and Malaysia, I would love to go to Legoland.
Legoland.
I love Legos.
And do you think you'll be able to go there once travel is opened up?
Yes, and COVID is over.
You've been there before, right?
Yes, that is a long time ago.
So you're excited to go back and see what's new and play?
Yeah. There's a new Next Nights movie which I'm going to watch over there.
And you can watch it at Legoland?
Yeah, Legoland. 4D movie.
Well, I hope you can go soon. I hope they allow travel soon. I'm sure in the next few months or so.
Few years.
No, less.
Next year. Maybe.
Next year, hopefully. And anything else you're excited for Singapore?
No.
No? Okay. I know you've already seen a lot here. You've done
not
a lot
a
of
lot.
exploring.
Not a lot. I would love to go inside Marina Bay Sands.
Oh, yeah, that would be fun. So is there something, if someone came to visit Singapore, is there something in particular you would recommend?
I would recommend the the Marina Bay area, like Lane, Marina Bay, and all of that, because it's so beautiful. Have you seen the mall, which it looks like a flower?
Mm-hmm. Like Gardens by the Bay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really pretty. And at night it lights up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really nice.
And even Marina Bay Sands.
Yeah, it's a really nice view. Okay. What do you want to be, Vedanth, when you grow up?
I have many options. A drummer, a logo designer, a person who makes loads of Lego, a major podcaster. Did I mention logo designing already?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You said Lego designer.
No,
And a
logo.
logo designer.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not a Lego designer.
Oh,
A
logo
person
designer.
who makes lots of Legos.
Okay.
Like, I'll build your personal Lego land.
You'll build the Legoland. So it would be like the next Legoland theme park?
Yes.
Where? Where would you build it?
Right next to my house.
Here in Singapore? I think that's a good idea.
I know.
So how do you think you'll decide which of those careers you want?
Depending on how I study in the future.
Okay. So it depends on like what you decide to study, what you like, what your interests are when you're a bit older.
And in the future, when I'm growing up, maybe I'll have more ideas of what I want to be.
I'm sure. It's nice you already have so many options. You have an idea of what you want to do, what you enjoy, what you're passionate about. It's an important thing. Follow your passions.
I know.
And the question you always ask people on your podcast, what is your favorite food?
Favorite food? I don't have a favorite food, but I have two favorite categories. In Indian, I have North Indian and South Indian food. And Italian.
Italian.
Like pasta, pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Even Chinese dumplings.
Chinese dumplings? Okay. So...
Even sushi, maybe?
Okay, so you like Japanese, Chinese, Indian, and Italian.
Yes.
And is there one that's your favorite of the four? You like them all equally?
I like them all equally.
And is it true that one of your favorite foods is dosa?
Yes.
What kind?
Masala dosa.
Masala dosa. Which is potato dosa?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I've tried your mom's and your dad's, and they're delicious.
I know.
So good. Do you know how to make them?
No.
No? I'm sure you'll learn soon.
I will.
All right. We have two more questions. The next question is, what do you have planned for your podcast in the next few months?
Few months, we don't know, but next week in the first season will be kids. I'm starting off with my cousin. Then after that, the season will be retired people, like all my grandparents and my grandma and my grandpa, all of those who are retired. I'm going to interview them.
So interesting.
Not all of them have retired.
Okay. I'm really excited to hear the different podcasts with the kids and then the people that are retired. I'm sure we'll all learn a lot. I like how you have different categories of your podcast. Like every few weeks it's a new focus. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. The longest podcast series so far has been engineering.
All right, and the last question. I'd like to know, what are 3 things you would like your listeners to know about you?
I'm a big Lego fan. I've been drumming a lot lately at school. And that in future I'll make more podcasts for all of you to listen to. And yes, that's all I want them to know.
Okay, very interesting.
They already know a lot about me.
Yeah, we've learned a lot. We've also learned a lot about you in past podcasts. But yeah, I want to thank you for letting me interview you. It was really interesting to learn more about you this time. And all of your responses were really interesting, and I'm sure your listeners now know a lot more about who you are, who the Curious Vedanth is, and yeah, I can say I'm extremely excited about season 2. So looking forward to it. Thank you, Vedanth.
And one tip for the listeners, if there's any other Curious Vedanth, it's That's not official. I'm the official Curious Vedanth.
Okay, so how do we know if it's the official
Voice.
by your voice? And like on Facebook, it's Curious
Yes,
Vedanth.
and the
Okay.
logo.
And the logo. Okay. So we'll know if it's not the real Curious Vedanth.
Yes.
Okay, that's good to know.
Dear listeners, follow my Facebook page, Curious Vedanth, to get updates on my upcoming episodes, to listen at leisure on your phone and get notified about future episodes. Subscribe by searching for Curious Vedanth wherever you get your podcasts, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can also listen to my show on CuriousVedanth.com. Thank you for listening to Curious Vedanth, and don't forget to rate and leave comments.